Good morning, fellow Hoops fans. Welcome back to another episode of the Last Shot NBA show right here on Little Birdie TV. As always, brought to you by our great mates over there at topsport.com.au. A lot of NBA talk to get into. And of course, we're bringing back the Magic Man himself, my favorite of all the Southeast Melbourne Magic players, Mr. Andrew Parkinson. Good morning. Okay, we're having some technical difficulties, so bear with us, guys. We do have a lot to talk about this morning. We're going to get into a little bit of the Zion Williamson injury. We're going to get a little bit into Darvin Ham and the LA Lakers woes. You all know how much I love talking about the Los Angeles Lakers and Russell Westbrook. And then we're going to get into a little bit of talk about the Miami Heat, who have started the season off a little bit slowly, you could say. So we're going to get into whether they are still a championship threat or not. And then we're going to take a look at some of the games from today. We've got the Mavericks and the Pelicans, the Clippers and the Thunder, the Warriors and the Suns. And then we're going to take a look at some championship odds as well and see how the market is moving right there. And I think we've got Parky back right now. Parky, can you hear us?
Sorry about that. Yes, a little bit of a technical difficulty there.
I think your computer wasn't used to me calling you my favorite of all the Southeast Melbourne Magic men, and they just shut down on you.
Yeah, well, that doesn't mean much when it comes to you and your thoughts on the old Magic times, because you were a Giants diehard.
Still am, mate. Haven't been around for 22 years, but I still am.
That's why I've got these, the Magic stuff in the background here, as you can see, just to rub it in your face. So
yeah, it hurts, Parky. It's like you're stabbing me right in the sides, right there. All right, mate. Let's get into it. We've got a lot of NBA talk to get through today. We're going to start off with the Zion Williamson injury, Parky, because just 3 games into the 2022-23 season, Zion Williamson suffered an injury. Scaring the Pelicans 122-121 loss to the Utah Jazz the other day. Let's just take a quick look at that play. Went up for the dunk.
Yeah.
Awkward landing right there, Parky.
Yeah, that's like, what is he, 280 pounds coming down on his on that hip region. So it's and out of every guy in the NBA that you want to see, be injury free, or at least have a good tilt at it, at Zion. I mean, he's missed 63% of available games in his, he's in his 4th season now. So, yeah, for that guy to be missing so early, he's got his smile back, and the Pels were looking good. And I think Brandon Ingram's also in concussion protocol, so he's out today. But we'll discuss how that's affected the odds in that game. But yeah, no, I think Zion. I think this one doesn't look like it's going to be a long injury. So I think they're just treading lightly. It's an 82-game season, but I think especially with him, they're going to tread very lightly.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Parky. They're going to, they understand it's a marathon, not a sprint. And as you mentioned, he's missed a ton of games. So they need him available during the key parts of the season, which obviously they need him healthy for the playoffs. When he's played, he's been fantastic. I mean, the other day he had 25 points on 10 of 16 shooting, Parky. He had 6 rebounds and 1 assist when, he exited the game. After the game, head coach Willie Green was obviously asked about the injury, and he said, Z's fall could have been much worse and doesn't seem like it is. Sore, bruises, nothing catastrophic, but something we have to monitor over the next few days. So obviously that speaks to what, both of us were just saying now, that they're going to take it very easy with him.
Yeah, I know they will for sure. And at least this isn't, his knee or ankle or something sort of, because he's such a big body, and the way he lands, I think, and the way he goes up, and he's always jumping, he's got that quick second and third jump. So, yeah, he's an amazing player. I mean, the guy shoots at above 60%. Yeah, and he's just
like
incredible.
A ridiculous clip for a guy of his size and his like style of game.
Yeah, and as you guys said, I think you and BK on the show on Monday, when we saw that game when Simmons was trying to, he treated him like he was a little boy, just with his body size. And Ben Simmons isn't a small man. So, yeah, no, he's a very special player. And I think we've been robbed, the last 3 or 4 years. of not seeing where he could be. I mean, when you think about it, if he'd played sort of 90% of those games available instead of 37%, who knows where he'd be now. But he's coming along well. He's still young. He's still got some time. But that 82 game season, it's going to be interesting to see how many seasons he'll get to play, sort of 75 to 70 to 80 games. I think they'll be taking it easy with him for sure.
Yeah, fingers crossed we do get to see a lot more of Zion and he does stay healthy. You touched on it real briefly. We're going to get into the odds for that game a little bit later. It has affected the market, but the Pels have a tough stretch coming up. They're at home to the Mavs today. Then they've got away games, Parky, at the Suns, at the Clippers. They've got the Lakers right after that, and then they've got the Warriors at home. So hopefully they get him back for that stretch of games. Speaking of the Los Angeles Lakers, Parky, you know how much I love talking about the Los Angeles Lakers and old mate Russell Westbrook. They're not getting better over there in Lakerland, Parky. They're 0-3 to start the season. They've looked bad. Westbrook's looked bad. They blew that game. When you told me the score on Monday when we did the show, because the last I checked, they were up 7 points with less than 2 minutes to go. And then you told me on the show that they dropped that game, and I was shocked against the Blazers. The issues with Russell Westbrook, Parky, they're not going away, are they?
No. And look, this thing, I don't know about you, but when he was first announced, I mean, it wasn't going to work, when he was first announced. And I don't see it ever being able to work. And it's just in that really tough spot now. A lot of people are calling for the Lakers just to send him home and just sit on him and try and trade him. And I mean, I'm sure Rob Pelinka was trying to trade him in this off season, and it was, I mean, if the Nets couldn't trade, to get something of value for KD, then the Lakers were pushing, uphill to get something for Russ. So that's just a awkward, terrible situation, and even the relationship with he and LeBron. We saw in the Summer League in Vegas, they went to a Summer League game, and they didn't even huddle up and at least give each other some dap and say, what's up?
They sat on the opposite sides of the court.
They sat on that. Now, I know that's just a little thing, and people at the time are saying, oh, that's all cool. That doesn't matter. It does matter. I mean, they're not, there's no connection there. There's no, team morale. LeBron kind of half threw him under the bus, I think, after game 2, when he mentioned, hey, we don't have any shooting. We've got no shooters. And I mean, who's probably the worst shooter on the team? It'd be Russ. AD and LeBron are better shooters than Russ. I think currently Russ is 1 for 12 from the 3-point line at 8%. And I think he's shooting below 30% from the field. So this situation is not going to go away. They're not going to get any value from him. Westbrook's got such a big salary to take on. And the fact is, I don't think Russ is ready to change much. I don't think, he's willing to accept a lesser role. We saw the other day when he took that stupid shot with, 30 seconds to go when they were 1 up and the bronze on the side of the court. Like, what are you doing? So then Darvin Ham subs him out and he doesn't play the last 3 possessions. And what does Russ do? He's sulking and saying things under his breath, on the bench and things like that. So, Darvin Ham has walked into a tough situation. He was all positive at the beginning, but it's not looking like it's much fun in Lakerland.
Yeah, he was actually pulled in in crunch time. Obviously in that game when LA had an opportunity to win. He sat for the first 7 minutes and 18 seconds of the fourth quarter before getting subbed in with 4:42 left in regulation. Darvin Ham was asked about Westbrook, and this is what he had to say. We've got a clip right here. I mean, the tweet right here. He said, "We don't have time for people to be in their feelings." There's talk that he might get relegated to the bench and come off as a 6th man. You mentioned he's, woeful shooting. He was 4 from 15 from the field in that last game, 0 for 11 the previous game. I think it is becoming too much of a distraction. They need to resolve this one way or another. But like you mentioned, Parky, a $44 million contract is a bit of an albatross hanging around the Lakers franchise now. It's probably the biggest reason why they couldn't get rid of him in the summertime, because, that's the only one that made sense was, probably trading for a John Wall or a Kyrie.
Yeah.
Kyrie obviously re-signed with the Nets. John Wall's obviously in Los Angeles with the Clippers as well. So, It's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out, but at least it makes for good content for us. It's something to talk about throughout the season.
Well, we were laughing. We were laughing about the Lakers when the championship odds came out, and they were $17, and we were laughing, saying you could pick your own price. You could make that 50 to 1, 100 to 1. Like, how could they be 17? But
and even that's a little bit too high, Pikey, for me.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Name your price.
Let's move on. We're going to talk about the Miami Heat over in the Eastern Conference as well, Parky. They're struggling to start the early part of the season. I know it's only 4 games in, so we don't want to hit the panic button just yet. The offense has not looked good, though, Parky, for the Miami Heat. Versus the Raptors, they scored a season-low 90 points on a season-worst 35.9% shooting from the field and season-worst 8 of 34 shooting from three-point range. Last season, just to give you an indication of how bad that is, their points total. Last season, Miami failed to score more than 90 points in just 5 games throughout the 82-game season. What have you been seeing from Miami, Parky, and do you think their championship window is shrinking?
Oh, look, it may be, but I wouldn't get too down on them 4 games in. I mean, what are they? 1-3, 1-3 at the moment in an 82-game season. So, look, I wouldn't be panicking too much. The thing with the Heat is that the things you spoke about, that poor shooting, I think that can be fixed. I think they can definitely shoot better, maybe get better shots. But the thing with the Heat that always sort of gets them through is their culture.
Yeah.
And I think, the guys like Adonis has them on the team and Bam Adebayo, you've got Jimmy Butler in there. The way it's led from the top, from Papa Riley right down to, their coach who's been there for a long time. So, I just think the culture there always has them in good stead. So I think, by the end of I don't see them, for example, I don't see them dropping out of, in the play-in sort of picture. I think they still could finish in that sort of, 5th or 6th spot, around that sort of that mark.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Parky. And, I think we're going to talk about the championship odds later as well. I think they're still hovering around that $18 mark, which is probably just about right for me for the Miami Heat. I don't think they're a real threat for the title. They'll be thereabouts. They'll make the playoffs, like you said. They won't drop into play-in. But for me, when Bam Adebayo is not on the floor, I just see them struggling. I look at Jimmy Butler. He's another year older. Kyle Lowry's another year older. I don't think Tyler Hero is really ready to step up into that sort of role of being like a consistent number 2 or number 3 guy. I think he's really suited to that 6-man role right now. And I just don't think that they got any better than last season, during the off season. And then you look at other teams like Milwaukee and, so forth. I think those teams improved in the Eastern Conference. Boston's obviously taken another leap from what we've seen early. I just don't think Miami's improved from last year, where they ended up losing to the Celtics in the conference finals.
Yeah, that's a good point. But when you say they haven't really improved too much, I mean, they weren't bad last year. I mean, they were a Jimmy Butler pull-up 3 away from advancing to the NBA finals. I wouldn't rule this team out. Just the fact that they're, I mean, to me, they're sort of like the exact opposite to the Lakers. They've got a great culture. They use their depth. They do have shooters. I know that they're not shooting well at the moment, but I wouldn't give up on them yet. I still think they're going to be a force, maybe not a force in the East, but I think they'll be thereabouts, come the business end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely agreed, Parky. All right, let's just jump into some odds now because we've got a few games we want to take a look at today. But first, give us the breakdown. Come on, give it to me, Parky. Give me the breakdown from last Monday's picks.
Well, all I will say is that order has been restored. Okay, because if I'm the betting expert on this show, I can't be coming in here and the host sort of picking winners ahead of me. So order has been restored. You did go. I can't stop the smile on my face. You went 2-4 the other day. So that's brought your season record to 5-5, which is still okay. Okay, because one of those picks you had the Bucks, who were like $2.40 in a win. So you kind of got a little bit of an edge there. So that's not too bad. But I went 2-1. I only had 3 picks the other day. So my record is currently 6-3. So I'm happy where we sit there. But there was one game that I got a bit lucky on, and that was that Kings at the Golden State Warriors. And I think you had the Warriors -10. I had the Kings +10. And as we saw, the Warriors were up by easy double digits. And just at the end there, the Kings, fought on and sort of, I think it was a 5-6 point game in the end. But so that was okay. But we've got a few picks today to go through, which have been affected by a lot of injuries.
Yeah, we're going to start off with the first game, and that's the one that has been affected by the injuries here. It's the Dallas Mavericks, New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans have blown out a little bit here. $2.79 Mavericks, $1.47 favorites. The line's at 5.5. Totals at 218. Live on ESPN today in Parky. This is the one. No Brandon Ingram, no Zion Williamson, no Herb Jones for Pelicans, and I guess that's affected the money right there.
Oh, it has. That spread was about 3.5 yesterday, and I think they knew, Ingram's was out, but with Zion being questionable, I think they, initially he was just questionable. So with that little bit of hope, the line wasn't too bad. So so going in with Zion questionable, my pick I had was the Mavs. Minus 3.5, and I still like them at the 5.5. So that's my pick for that one. Also, it's interesting to note for the total there that there's been a lot of money coming for the over. So whether that's because without Zion in there, maybe they figure there could be a few more buckets scored or not. But that's sort of blown out in the last day or so. So, but my pick in that game's the Mavericks to cover that 5.5.
All right, I'm going to give you my triple pick here. Mavericks going to win. They're going to win by double digits. They're going to win. I'm going by 12 to give you an exact. And I'm going to take the under because without Ingram and Zion and Herb Jones, I know CJ McCollum can put up some points, but I don't think the Pelicans put up enough points to get the over on that.
No, I don't mind that pick at all either, to be honest. If I I'm not making an official pick, but if I had to bet on that, I'd be taking that one as well.
All right, let's take a look at the next game that we're going to have a look at here, the Clippers and the Thunder. And Parky, a couple of injuries have affected this one here as well because Giddey, the Wizard of Oz, Josh Giddey, is out with an ankle sprain. SGA is listed as questionable. The Thunder are paying $3. The Clippers are $1.38. The line 6.5. Total there is 215 even. This one's live on NBA League Pass. What are you seeing from this one, Pikey?
Yeah, well, we've also got to mention, I think Paul George is out of that one as well. Yeah,
yep, forgot that one. Yep.
Yeah, because this line's been jumping around everywhere, Nick. This one initially it was plus 10, it was plus 8.5 not long ago. Now it's down to 6.5, and I think that's because PG's out. But no, I still like the Clippers in this one to cover the minus the 6.5. Even though it's at OKC. For me, with SGA being questionable and Josh Giddey being out. I don't know if you remember last season, but there was a game OKC played without those two boys, and they lost by 75 points.
Yes, they did.
You remember? You remember that one?
Yes.
So I'm not saying it's going to necessarily be a 75-point one today, but I think the Clippers could win by more than 7. So I really like that. Oh, no, sorry, what was that spread? I think it was 6.5. Yeah, sorry.
6.5. Yeah.
6.5. Yep. It's been jumping around. That's been jumping around. It's hard to keep up with. But I think that's 6.5. I think the Clippers can cover that in OKC.
Yeah, I'm with you, Pikey. Clippers double-digit win, under as well, because again, like I said, same reasoning I'm using with the Pelicans. No SG. If SGA doesn't play, no Giddey. Obviously, they haven't got Chet Holmgren either for the whole season. They just don't have enough firepower without their major guys. So I'm taking the under.
Yeah, and in saying that, they are a pretty good team against the spread as far as gambling on the Thunder. Their record wasn't great last season, but as far as betting against the spread or going against the spread, they do pretty well. So generally, they are a cover team, but no, I don't see them covering it today.
All right, last game we're going to take a look at. This one should be a fun one. The Phoenix Suns and the Golden State Warriors. The Suns are heading into this one favorites at $1.80. The Warriors 206. The line there is at minus 1.5 total, 227, a little bit higher as you would expect from both of these teams here. Live on ESPN. Parky, what are you seeing on this one?
Well, there's a lot of money coming for the over, that's for sure. So people that's been sort of bet up from 225.5 to 226.5. Now it's what did you say it was now? 227.5.
227.
So, yeah, 227 flat. Yeah, so that's and there's also been a little bit of money coming for the Suns. They're playing at home here. Yeah, that spread was about 2.5. You can now get 1.5. I actually like the Suns. At home today against the Warriors. I think they can win. They've only got to win by 2 points to cover that spread. So yeah, it's the Suns for me in that matchup.
Parky, I'm with you. Suns to cover the spread. And you know what? I'm going to take the over on this one as well.
I love it. I love it how you're giving 2 picks a game too. I love getting out there.
Yeah, I'm bold. I'm bold.
Yeah. No, 227. I think. That can easily be achieved in this game for sure.
Yeah, these two teams can certainly put up numbers on the board in a hurry as well. So, all right, let's take a look at the championship odds, and then we're going to get out of here. Parky, have you seen much movement here? The Clippers are still favorites. Much movement in the market here?
Not really. No, not really. A few teams have sort of blown out. I think, we can laugh at the Lakers odds, I guess. Look, Portland have had a good start. I thought they might have come in a little bit. But, the 76ers with their sort of 0-3 start, even though they picked up a win yesterday against the Pacers. It's probably what it should be. Those odds. I think the Clippers are still slight favourites, and that's kind of the way it's been. Even though the Celtics and Warriors, the two teams that played in last year's NBA Finals, they were on the offset or just before the season started. They were kind of in that mix, but the Clippers have firmed up a little bit, and I think what we've seen from them is their depth, and they'll get a pretty good positioning in that Western Conference, I'd say. Even though load management, PG's out today, Kawhi's definitely not going to play anywhere near 82 games. I think he'll be around that sort of 60 mark, which is I think what he played. I think he played about 62 games for the Raptors in that year that he delivered the championship, and that was kind of perfect. He still had enough juice left in him for that playoff campaign. And I think that's the way the Clippers are looking at it. And they've got a hell of a lot more depth than that Kawhi Leonard Raptors team had a few years ago. So the Clippers should be rightly, I think, in that mix for the favourites for the championship.
Yeah, and the Lakers, just a quick note on them. They started out the season as $17. They've blown out to $26. I expect that to blow out even further in the coming weeks.
Geez, they must have some diehard fans. And look, the sports books over there, they're just so popular. The Lakers, people still, think. But look, it's not the fact they're 0-3 or.
It's just that they're bad for 2 seasons running.
Exactly, they're bad. They won 33 games last year. I know there was a lot of injuries and things, but they're just that's just looking. It's just looking it's looking bad already for those Lakers. And that 26 is very kind. That $26 for them to win the champion, that's very kind. Unless Pelinka pulls off some trade where he can somehow get rid of Russ and bring in, I don't know, a Kyrie or someone like that. But I don't see that happening.
Yeah, either do I, Parky. All right, that's going to do it from us, Parky. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll catch you again on Friday morning.
No worries. Look forward to it. There's a lot of games in between then, so we'll have a lot to talk about.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that's been another episode of the Last Shot NBA show right here on Little Birdie TV, brought to you by our great mates at topsport.com.au. We'll see you guys Friday morning.